Well, welcome back. We're now going to take a look at one of the little-known features of the history panel, and that is the snapshots. I need to open up a file. And again, you can open these up, but I'm going to be doing some things that we haven't done yet. I'm going to do a little touch-up. So I'm not going to be explaining what I'm going to do right here because we're going to cover all this stuff later on in the course. So for right now, just sit back and watch. Now I'm going to open up the Snapshot 01. And just for kicks, I'm going to open up the final PSD just to show you what you can do with Photoshop. This is probably one of my better touch-up jobs. I'll jump over here, double-click that, hand tool, double-click the hand tool there. There's the original. I'll even go to the full screen version. And we can see the original here of this lady. And the final, after doing all the touch-up, you can see what we ended up with. So there's the before, and there's the after. So, just for kicks, just wanted to show you that. But what I want to do right now is talk about snapshots. Now, whenever you're working in Photoshop, you can come over to the History panel and save a snapshot of that particular point in time. And that guarantees that you can always jump back to that point whenever you want to, even if you run out of undos. It's also a nice way to save certain steps of your touch-up. Maybe you work on one of these eyes, you're touching it up, you'll save out a little snapshot of, say, the left eye. You could then work on the right eye, save a snapshot of that. And then maybe on the forehead, save a snapshot of that. And you can always go back to those points, either for comparison purposes or simply because you want to start over from that point on. So let's show you how to do that. Now I'm going to do some quick touch-up using the spot healing brush, and believe me, I am not going to do a good job. Don't worry about it. Don't pay any attention to what I'm doing because later on in this course, I'm going to show you how to use these tools properly. Right now, I just want to do something to show you how to use snapshots. So I'll just get rid of a few wrinkles here. Again, horrible job. You don't want to do this kind of work. Let's say that you've worked on the left eye, you're doing a portrait, and you're touching it up. And now, when you're finished, you want to save out a quick reference back to that point. Well, what you can do is click this little camera button here, and it will create another snapshot. Now, I can rename that by clicking and then clicking again, or double-clicking on that right there, and we'll call this the left eye. Now I can continue and come over here, working on the right eye. In fact, maybe we might even erase her eye right here. And when we're finished with that step of our touch-up, we can come down here and create another snapshot by clicking the camera button. And if I come up here to the top, we'll see it's created another snapshot. I'll double-click on that, and we'll do the right eye. And then finally, I'll come up here on the forehead and maybe touch up some of these wrinkles here. Again, pay no attention to what I'm doing. I am not doing a good job, and I don't recommend that, you follow along or try to do the bad job that I'm doing. I just want to do some touch-up that'll allow us to save out some snapshots. When I'm finished, click the camera button, come on up here, and we'll call this the forehead. Now, what we can do with these snapshots is a number of things. First off, we could use them as comparison purposes. I could go back to the left eye. I could go back to the right eye. I could go back to the forehead. And all it's doing is jumping us to some point in the history. In other words, you don't really know which one gets you to the right eye. Of course, you can click around and try to find where the right eye work was finished. You could be clicking all day long, or just come up here and click on right eye and you jump right to it. If you didn't like your right eye work, of course, you could jump right to the left eye and then continue working from there. So as we can see, snapshots serve for three purposes. Number one, we can quickly jump back to a point in time. Number two, we can use them for comparisons. And number three, if you run out of history steps, remember before when we ran out of history steps, the only place we could go was all the way back to the beginning. Well now, even if we run out of history steps, I can go back to any one of these particular points in time. It's almost like an insurance policy of running out of history steps. Now, with 1,000 history steps, you're not going to run out of them. So the question is, do we really need to use snapshots? Well, if you're doing a complicated edit, such as I was here on this lady, where I might have had hundreds of steps, yes, it's nice to save out a snapshot at key points in the editing process. But most of the things I do, I'm not getting this complicated. There might be 50, 20, 30, 50 steps in there. I'm not going to save out a snapshot for that. But I do use the history quite often to jump back and forth through things, but I don't really need these snapshots if it's not going to be a very complicated edit. So snapshots are one of the little known history processes. Just wanted to point that out. What we're going to take a look at next is the history brush. See you there.